host, Andrew Romanella.
When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere.
What's going on, everybody? Hey, welcome in to another edition of The Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com. We broadcast live every day on YouTube and X. I am your host, Andrew Romanella, and I am coming to you from on location. That is right. The backdrop should look familiar to the people. We've been here before. We are in not so sunny, but very beautiful Long Beach Island, New Jersey. So we wanted to make sure we brought you some beach vibes here on a Friday. It's May 30th. It is the end of the month, but it is not the end of the Knicks versus Pacers series. The Knicks stay alive last night in Game 5 with a light slaughtering of the Indiana Pacers. Was a little bit closer for most of that game than the score indicates, but they did everything they needed to do in Game 5 at Madison Square Garden. So they force a Game 6 on Saturday, which we will break down in a second. And then we got a Stanley Cup rematch. The Dallas Stars could not hang on against the Edmonton Oilers. They could not force a Game 6. So Edmonton, they head to the Stanley Cup Finals for the second straight year, looking for vengeance against the Florida Panthers. We will break that down, plus some walk-offs in college softball that you gotta see. If we have time, a potential trade in the National Football League, but you know we will end with
What you watching?
and we will give you what we believe you need to watch this weekend. If you were to say, you know what? Nah, on everything else, if you took these three things, you would enjoy the sports you watch this coming weekend. You want to get in on the action? It is super easy. YouTube.com/12OZ Sports or X.com/12OZ Sports, and then bang, go right to the comments section. Write your comments just like you would on a normal post. It'll pop up here on the backside, and we can have a nice conversation about sports or other. I posed a question the other day. You can find it on my social media, The Rome Show 1. That's The Rome Show, then the number 1. Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, all of the social sites. It's at the bottom left-hand part of your screen. If you forget what I said there, put up an Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, whatever the other day. I also asked it on the show. Would you rather a hole in one, or would you rather throw a perfect game? You only get choice on one of them. Would you rather hit a hole in one, or would you rather throw a perfect game? So far, early indicators are that a lot more people would rather throw a perfect game than hit a hole in one. And the primary comment to why they'd rather the perfect game over the hole in one is because they believe the hole in one is a whole lot more luck than they believe the perfect game. A lot of the comments I was reading was a perfect game takes a lot of skill. Like, that guy has to be so good that he gets to the level of being that good at playing the game of baseball, and then has to be able to do it for 27 batters. Whereas the hole in one, as it was described on some of the comment sections, the average Joe can go whack a golf ball. I also don't believe they could do that, but that's a whole nother conversation. But for sake of it, average Joe goes and whacks a golf ball, terrible at the sport, but connects on one, and it bounces and it goes in for a hole in one. So a lot more people siding with the baseball accolade over the golf accolade. Hole in one or perfect game. Comment YouTube or X if you want to give me your thoughts on that. Or last night, the New York Knicks defeating the Indiana Pacers in a fantastic matchup, 111-94. The New York Knicks led this game. The New York Knicks led this game for pretty much the entirety of the game. Okay. And it all started on the defensive side of the ball for the Knicks. It was an elite performance for them. Look no further than this right here. Tyrese Halliburton, the player we've been talking about as a superstar for this Indiana Pacers team, was held to 8 points last night. Okay. The leading scorer for the Indiana Pacers was Benedict Mathurin off the bench. Okay, with 23 points. So that should tell you everything you need to know about the defensive prowess of the New York Knicks on this night. The 3 top scorers for this Indiana team, Aaron Naismith, Pascal Siakam, and Tyrese Halliburton, combined for a total of 15 points. Excuse me, for a total of 26 points in this game. 26 total points between those 3 guys. Siakam led those 3 with 15. Naismith had 3, and Halliburton, as I mentioned, had 8. In total, the New York Knicks held the Pacers starting core to 37 total points on the day. Look no further than the inability for the Pacers to shoot the 3, shot 33% from beyond the arc, only made 10 of them. And that has been a bad aspect for defense for the Knicks. Secondly, it felt like the communication and the switching and the being in the right place to slow the Pacers down happened last night for the Knicks. We talked about it. You cannot get into a track meet with this Pacers team. You need to slow it down, feel like you've slowed it down to what I would consider more old school basketball, or as people call it, half court basketball. And the Knicks did just that offensively. The wealth was spread around, starting with, you guessed it, Jalen Brunson, 32 points last night, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 12 of 18 from the field. Very efficient for Jalen Brunson. Karl Anthony Towns, 24 points and 11 rebounds. But 2 games ago, Tom Thibodeau put Josh Hart on the bench. There was a switch there. Mitchell Robinson into the starting lineup, Josh Hart onto the bench, in hopes that there would be a spark coming off the bench for this Knicks team. There's no denying what the issue for the Knicks has been, not just during this series versus Indiana, but all year. The Knicks have not been a great defensive team all year, though their head coach is a great defensive-minded head coach. They have not been great at defense all year. And they have not had a deep enough bench for each of the 3 years that Jalen Brunson's been in the blue and orange. So going into this postseason, I would argue that majority of Knicks fans were less confident about what the Knicks could do this year than they had been in the last 2 seasons. Why? Well, because despite having Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, this team didn't have necessarily the grittiness feel that last year's team had. Doesn't have the defensive prowess that last year's team has. And those 2 attributes, those 2 factors for a team will make somebody feel so good about their team going into the postseason. And that's the opposite of the feel you got with the Knicks this year. You weren't sure if they were that gritty team that could play that tough style of basketball that needs to win in the playoffs. And by the way, they still haven't proven it, all right, all the time, but they found a way. And a lot of big defensive plays, big defensive stops and comebacks have led to that. I mean, think about the 2 stops back-to-back games for Mikal Bridges in the first round of this postseason. Okay, think about the 2 20-plus point comebacks against the Boston Celtics. Okay, so they've shown the ability. They've shown the grittiness. They've shown the ability to be great defensively, but they needed to make an adjustment on this Indiana team. Okay, and they did just that and got bench contributions. The Josh Hart move did not pay off in game 4, paid off in game 5. He had a double-double in 34 minutes off the bench, 12 points, 10 rebounds, 4-8 from the field, also threw in 4 assists and 2 steals. In total, the Knicks bench scored 28 points, I believe it is. And 4 players played 10 or more minutes in this contest. Miles McBride, Josh Hart, DeLon Wright, and Landry Shamet. Precious Achiuwa also got in for 6. So starting to see now, again, You have a larger lead in the back end of this game, the last 12, 10 minutes, so you can do that. But at the end of the day, that just shows, right? Hey, as long as my lovely fiance loves to say, the fat lady has not sung, you still have a chance. Good adjustments by the Knicks last night. Now they force game 6. If you're Indiana, you just throw that one away. You've been the better team in this series so far. Throw that one away. Move on. You have a game 6 at home where you have a chance to go to the NBA Finals for the first time in a minute, and you're good enough to do it. So that's all you got to focus on. The Rome Show, hopefully you're focused this morning on a Friday. I'm sure the people are fired up. It's May 30th, 2025. I don't know where you're listening from right now, but in the state of New Jersey, our weather has been ridiculously bipolar. So though I sit here at the beach and I should be finishing the Rome Show, clipping some social media and heading to the sand, that's not necessarily the case. As every weekend in the state of New Jersey has turned into this gray atmosphere of potential rain, some sun. All of a sudden it's cold again. I don't know, but the weather here has been bipolar. So I hope you are enjoying your Friday regardless of the weather that you may be experiencing. And at the end of the day, good weather, bad weather, if you listen to the Rome Show at 7 a.m., you've started your day off right. Social media, the Rome Show 1, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, 12OZ Sports. That's the mothership. Follow us everywhere. Make your life easy. If you weren't following the Stanley Cup playoffs, you've missed out on a lot of awesomeness. A lot of times here on the Rome Show, we argue that the NHL, the Stanley Cup playoffs, are the best postseason of the 4 major sports. And it's a lot because of the players. And I've always talked about this. The care level in hockey, every time you put on hockey skates and you step on the ice, is unmatched comparative to other sports. And that rolls into the postseason, which rolls into some of the best action you'll see when it comes to playoff sports. Edmonton 6, Florida 3 last night in game 5 in Dallas 3 in game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. So now, for the second straight year in the NHL, the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers will face off in the Stanley Cup Final. Rocky on Hockey with Rocky referenced it yesterday. If you missed it, get the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search the Rome Show podcast. And he said last year was crazy because Florida went up 3-0. Edmonton comes back and wins 3 straight. They force a game 7. Florida wins the Stanley Cup. Okay? These could be the 2 best teams in the National Hockey League. With Stuart Skinner playing top 7 goaltending right now for the Edmonton Oilers, it changes things on how you feel about this team because both of these teams can score 6 to 8 goals a night. All right? But Bobrovsky's clearly a step above goaltending wise, except for in this moment right now, where you feel like Stuart Skinner's playing good enough to give Edmonton a chance. On top of that, the firepower in this series is off the charts. 4 of the top 5 goal scorers in the National Hockey League during the postseason are currently in the Stanley Cup, and 3 of them are on the Edmonton Oilers. Number 1, Connor McDavid, 24 points. Number 2, Leon Draisaitl, 23 points. Number 4, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 18 points. And then the Florida Panthers have the 5th most leading point scorer in the postseason in Alexander Barkov at 17 points. So this series, 1, is going to be electric. Okay. If you want to watch hockey at an elite form where you're going to see all aspects of the game, you're going to see speed, you're going to see finesse, you're going to see rough, you're going to see aggressive, you're going to see loud, you're going to see everything in this series. And as a fan, as somebody that just loves the sport, I'm praying for 7 games. I am praying. Give me another blockbuster finish in this series, okay? Which will start believe it or not, tomorrow. Okay. So you got to get right into it. And both teams are very good. So Stanley Cup starts tomorrow. And we'll see who's joining the Oklahoma City Thunder in the NBA Finals as we have Game 6 tomorrow night as well. Right now on the Rome Show here, we have a commercial break. That does not mean the show's over, though, ladies and gentlemen. We just have to pay our bills and give the sponsors some love because we love the sponsors. So when we get back, I got a walk-off winner for you in the Women's College World Series softball. That is, and a potential trade in the National Football League that has been circulating around. And we finish with what you're watching this weekend. It is Andrew Romanella. It is you. It's the Rome Show on 12OZ Sports, and we're back after this.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12-Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12-Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Yeah, the Rome Show, 12ouncesports.com. We broadcast live on YouTube and X. Hope you're enjoying the show. I'm having a blast. I would argue that some of my best shows happen at this table right here in Long Beach Island, New Jersey. I posed a question on social media the other day. Our social media is The Rome Show 1. That is The Rome Show and the number 1. Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok. You know the drill. The question was, would you rather a no-hitter or a hole-in-one? A lot of early returns the last few days have been a perfect game. That is what people would choose if they had one great accolade to choose. Some might say that they would choose a walk-off home run if they could. And I'll tell you what, Oklahoma's Ella Parker did just that yesterday. Check it out. 3-1 in the 7th, 1 out left in the game. Oklahoma down 3-2, and Ella Parker hits a bomb. She crushes the ball dead center. Watch it again. Off the righty from Tennessee. And Oklahoma softball wins game number 1 of their College World Series round robin 18 tourney. And for those that do not know, Oklahoma softball is the New England Patriots of softball from 2000 to 2018. When you think about the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick dominance when they were with the New England Patriots, that is Oklahoma softball. 4 straight national championships They're going for a 5-peat. Like, think about how hard winning once is in any sport at any level, okay? Then think about doing it twice, 3 times in a row. The fact that they're going for their 5th national championship in a row is a testament to how good that program is. And at the end of the day, for those that might not know, now they're going to know. Oklahoma, like the state, is the hotbed. It's the capital for softball in this country. Okay? That's where Athletes Unlimited Softball is, which actually just partnered with Major League Baseball, which is awesome. It's a professional softball league that plays in Oklahoma. That's where the College World Series is. Okay? So Oklahoma, the state, is the capital of softball, and Oklahoma, the university, is the capital of college softball as well. Congratulations to the Sooners, Ella Parker, who are in the winner's bracket now of the Women's College World Series. Then in the National Football League, we have a potential trade being thrown around here between the Miami Dolphins and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you might say to yourself, oh, well, maybe the Steelers are looking for a quarterback. Well, if that's the question you asked, you would be wrong. That is correct. They are down. The Steelers are with the Skylar Thompson, Will Howard, and bunch in the quarterback room. So we are not here to talk quarterback trades. There is a discussion between the Finns and the Steelers about tight end Jonnu Smith. All right. And at first glance, you might say to yourself, I wonder why. But when you actually take a step back and look at it, and you take the names Brock Bowers out of your head, and you take the names Travis Kelce out of your head, or George Kittles, you start to realize that Jonnu Smith, dude, who's been playing for the Finns, is a top tight end in the league. Last year, 88 receptions, 884 yards, excuse me. Those were both franchise records for the Miami Dolphins, and he was a Pro Bowler in his 3rd season with the squad. He also has history with offensive coordinator Arthur Smith with the Pittsburgh Steelers, which could be why the Steelers are pushing for this trade so badly. And also, I think, as we all know, a great tight end is electric for any quarterback, okay? So if you want to play Mason Rudolph, cool, because they believe that, one, Mason Rudolph's good enough to win them games compared to, I guess, what they had with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson last year. But 2, I think the real belief is between Jonnu Smith and Arthur Smith's knowledge of each other, okay, Jonnu Smith's ability, and the importance of a tight end to a quarterback. I think that's what Pittsburgh's saying to themselves. Hey, this is our quarterback room. Maybe we add Aaron Rodgers, which, again, good tight end helps Aaron Rodgers also, any quarterback. But let's say we don't add anything else to this quarterback room. What's the best thing we can do for these guys? Well, let's get an elite tight end. Because much like a Band-Aid to a wound, a great tight end is that to an offense, okay? Or to a quarterback that doesn't have the greatest weapons, that doesn't have the most amount of time, but he's got a big tight end. He's got a dude that's going to find a pocket of space, is going to get open for him. He could dump it down 5-6 yards and move on with his life. That is key to a quarterback. That's key to a not great quarterback having any type of success. That dunk off to the running back, that guy that hitting the tight end pass, that is huge. I think that's what the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking to create with Jonnu Smith. If you were wondering, Jonnu Smith's 84 receptions put him 5th in the league last year. Brock Bowers had 112. Trey McBride of the Cardinals, 111. George Kittle's 105. Travis Kelce, 97. So a potential top 5 tight end here that is possibly on the trade block. And I got to say, as a Dolphins fan and as a football fan, what the hell is Miami doing? Why would you even entertain this? Unless you're going to get back a haul of draft picks and you believe that next year you're going to have to go back into the quarterback market and draft a quarterback, and you're really kind of planning more long-term than short-term, why would you do this? You have Tua Tagovailoa, who cannot throw the football downfield. Though you have 2 elite wide receivers, it hasn't proved to make the team that much better, again, because of the deficiencies of your quarterback. So if you know you have a quarterback that is more precision and short game than long game and dimes deep, then why would we get rid of our best weapon for that offense? If I am Mike McDaniels and the Miami Dolphins, I am building this team around offensive line, run game, and tight end. Okay? Because that are the attributes that are going to make Tua great. And then you're going to hit Tyreek down the hill every once in a while. And then you're going to waddle right side of the end zone. Okay? That, to me, is the recipe for success for this Dolphins team. So to see Jonnu Smith on the trading block really threw me off, because I think he could be the best weapon for their quarterback situation going into 2025, especially when everybody's going to be so worried about Tyreek Hill and so worried about Jalen Waddle. It just frees up him to be possibly the best player on the field in some moments, but the third option really that people are caring about. These recommendations that I'm about to give you right now better be your first option in terms of what this weekend.
What you watching?
What you're watching is arguably my favorite segment ever in my 7 years of doing radio. It's a simple segment, and I hope you write it down, take notes on your phone, or text it to your buddy, because this is what we're going to be watching at the bar this weekend. First and foremost, the Stanley Cup. It starts Saturday, 8 p.m. on ESPN. The Edmonton Oilers versus the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers are the defending Stanley Cup champions. Fun fact, this is the 6th straight year a team from Florida, the state that is, has made it to the Stanley Cup finals between the Panthers and the Lightning. That's crazy. Is Florida the heartbeat of hockey? Is Florida the capital state of ice hockey? I don't know, but the professional teams are proving that it just might be. 8 p.m. Saturday, game 1, Edmonton versus Florida. Number 2.
Okay.
Nah, that's not the sounder.
What you watching?
Bam, that's the sounder. The New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers, they face off in game 6 in Indiana. The Knicks again look to stay alive and do something they have never done in their history. They are 0-15 franchise record-wise in the history of time when they as a team are down in the postseason by a 3-1 series lead. Okay, so we will see if the Knickerbockers can do something that has literally never been able to done before for the Knicks. That game's at 8 p.m. on TNT, so just realize game 1 of the Stanley Cup and game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals in the NBA are going to happen at the same time. Tune to TNT for your NBA coverage and tune to ESPN for your hockey coverage. Finally, the last thing.
What you watching?
This weekend, it's the start of the College World Series regionals in Division I baseball. And if you want to see some electricity in a sports atmosphere, check out the regionals in college sports, especially in baseball. It is awesome. And by the way, you got the ESPN Plus package. There might be a chance you could dabble in a little Division II and Division III college baseball World Series. If not, it's super easy to find where you can get all these live streams. But this weekend starts a stretch of a month where you're going to get college baseball regionals, super regionals, and college World Series all over the place. And it is underrated how electric the vibes are during this time of year. So don't miss it. Okay, don't miss it. I don't know if you're a big baseball fan or not, but don't miss the College World Series starting this weekend with the regionals. 64 teams looking to get to Omaha in 3 weeks and hoist a trophy. I'm looking to get to the beach and get to the weekend right now because I have fulfilled my Rome show duties. I hope you enjoyed the show, ladies and gentlemen. If you did, please make sure you subscribe to the show, and then we could maybe share it with a friend, no matter what platform, YouTube or X, doesn't matter to me. We also have the Rome Show podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. By the way, do me a favor. I interviewed my brother yesterday after Hockey with Rocky regarding his Buffalo Marathon. Head over to YouTube, search the Romanellas. Okay. You can also just go to my Facebook. It's so easy to find, and check out the interview with Rocky completing the Buffalo Marathon. Super awesome. Less than 1% of people in the world have completed 26.2 miles. And my brother, our resident hockey expert, Rocky Romanella, did just that. And you can listen to the interview on youtube.com/the Romanellas. Hey, you have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday at 7 a.m. Andrew Romanella saying, be electric and, peace.
Thank you for listening.